And now we are joined by Kyle Daukaus, who faces Kevin Holland on October 2nd at UFC Vegas 38. First of all, Kyle, biggest fight of your career coming up. When was it that you found out about this fight? And what was like your reaction when you heard it was Kevin Holland as your next opponent?
I found out probably a month or like a little bit less than a month after my last fight. It was a big surprise. You know, he's got a number next to his name, so it was a surprise. My manager had called me, kind of told me, asked me who the guys I asked to fight before were. I didn't rattle off Kevin's name, although I had said his name before that I wanted to fight him. And he said, "Well, they're offering you Kevin Holland on October 2nd." And I was like, "All right, like I can't say no." He's got a number next to his name. He's a known guy. He fought two guys in the top of the division. He's coming off of two losses, and I can't say no to this.
So you've had some time to prepare for it. How has the training camp gone ahead of this fight then? And how is it looking less like than a month now until you fight?
It's going good. Every camp that you have is tough. Just little things that you need to work on every single time. Everything's good. I'm pushing hard. I have these last 3 weeks of camp that I'm finishing up in right now. Next week I leave to Vegas because my brother fights on the 25th of September. So I'll actually be in Vegas for 2 weeks. And it's good because I get a little acclimated to the Vegas time. We don't have to fly in and try to get my sleep, when I can. It's always tough to sleep there when you fly in, but yeah, it's going to be good that I'm going to be acclimated and be out there the week before for my brother's fight. So, yeah.
So you'll be there from your brother's fight until your fight. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll be there we leave the 21st, and then I'll be there from the 21st until my fight on the 2nd. I come home the 3rd of October. So I'm away for 12 days. So not too bad. It would kind of be stupid of us to fly home on Sunday after my brother's fight and then fly back out on Tuesday. So yeah, I figured we'd just stay out there. It'd be a lot easier.
And how did you find fighting in Vegas last time out? And do you feel like this will help you now having that kind of time to settle there? And how was it like last time fighting in Vegas?
Yeah, it's always different fighting in Vegas. When you first fly out there, it's a little tough because of the time change. You're falling asleep at like 7 o'clock because in the East Coast, we're 3 hours ahead of Vegas. So by the time it's like 10:30 here, it's 7:30 there. So it's always tough to try to stay awake. But once you get there and land and get like the first hard workout in, your body kind of acclimates a little bit. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being there for 2 weeks because I won't have to kind of like struggle to sleep or anything like that. So, but yeah. Fighting in Vegas is always great. The atmosphere is always cool when you fly into Vegas and see the strip and get picked up by the UFC staff. It's always a great feeling.
And you had some time now to reflect from your fight against Phil Hawes, only your second career loss. What was the kind of key takeaways you've took from that fight to kind of take into this training camp and kind of work on that?
I guess just that I can't really come out and fight and expect to win every single time, regardless of how I come out, if I come out flat or if I come out fast or anything like that, it was good that I lost. I think it's another learning experience that I've had. You don't really learn that much from winning. So every time you lose, it's always good. It's kind of good because you get to look back and learn a little bit about yourself and learn a little bit about what you need to work on. And, just been working on everything, man. I've been working on wrestling, takedowns, defense, getting back up off of my back and everything like that. And I'm just trying to improve every single camp and every single fight. So anytime that I can improve, it's always good.
And now you're facing Kevin Holland, who's a ranked opponent. What do you make of this kind of jump from fighting? You've fought some stars already. Phil Hawes is a big name kind of in the middleweight division. But getting a ranked opponent, is it quite surprising considering you're coming off a loss, or do you expect that with him being on 2 losses as well?
Yeah, I kind of figured. I didn't figure, but I kind of figured that is why that they've matched us up. Because he's coming off of 2 losses, I'm coming off of 1 loss, so I figured that was kind of their mindset into going into the fight. But yeah, what was the other part of the question?
I can't remember now. To be honest. Okay. Looking at Kevin Holland, he's kind of known for his trash talking as well. Is that something you're expecting with him being in there? And once you do get in there, and it's kind of a question of when he will start trash talking once you're inside the cage, because he does it in every fight. Will you engage with that with him, or you is that just focusing on yourself is the key thing?
No, going into the fight, I have to focus on myself. I have to base the fight off of my game plans. I can't really base my fight off of how he fights. I can't really fight like reactive, I have to fight how I want to fight. And anytime I step into the cage, I have to fight my fight pretty much. I can't really just fight off of how everybody else is fighting. And I think that's how kind of my 2 losses have gone. I kind of just kept the pace that my opponents were keeping. But yeah, people keep asking about the trash talk and everything like that. But in my opinion, it's not. I mean, it's trash talk, but it's nice. It's nice talking. Like he compliments some stuff, and I think it's just a way. That's like how zoned in he is. That he's just so like in the moment that he can talk. And some guys, stay quiet, and that's how I am. I'm quiet. I'm cool, calm, and collected. When I get a little nervous before the fight, and I think that's kind of how he deals with the fight as well. He deals with it with talking. His nerves are just him kind of just talking. That's how he gets it out. And I think that's a majority of what it is. I don't really think it's too bad of trash talk. But yeah, I mean, my coaches and my brother run their mouth every time that we're training. So I'm used to it. Yeah, I'm used to it. So I don't see it's going to be a big deal. Once the cage door closes and the ref says fight, he can say whatever he wants. He can act however he wants, but I'm just be stone cold and just go straight in there and beat him.
So if he does talk anything to you in the cage, are you just going to ignore it? Is that your kind of how you're focusing this fight?
Yeah, I won't talk back. I mean, I'm not really a big talker. I'm not a big trash talker or anything like that. I might like agree with some things that he says or whatnot, but I'm not going to get into an argument with him in the middle of the cage.
And he's known for kind of trying to get into his opponent's head before the fight as well. Has he tried to contact you at all before this fight, or have you not heard anything from him yet?
No, he actually messaged me. I think it was last week or so. He had messaged me. We had like bad floods in Philadelphia. The city kind of flooded a little bit, and he just reached out and just said like he hopes everything is good. And I said, yeah, like everything's cool, man. Thanks, I appreciate it. But part of me also thought like this guy's trying to play mind games with me, so I can't really pay too much attention to it. But when we get out there fight week, I'm sure he'll see me and he'll try to talk to me and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it so far.
And how excited are you kind of for the build-up of this fight? Because Kevin Holland's a big name, so this will get a lot of attention. And, you'll get attention for that as well. And at the moment, I believe it's a co-main event. I'm not too sure how that will run, but I'm sure it'll be on the main card as well. So how excited are you about that prospect?
Very excited. Anytime that you can get a ranked opponent, it's always good. But anytime that you can also fight on the main card, it's always that much better. When my UFC debut was on the main card as well. But fighting at the Apex, it doesn't really feel like you're on the main card because the fans, like there's not a lot of fans or anything like that. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really happy that I have this opponent. It just shows that the UFC believes in me, believes that I can go in there and beat this guy. And I plan on beating him on October 2nd. I'm just looking forward to it. Maybe even waking up Sunday morning with a number next to my name.
And do you think this is a potential for a bonus as well if you finish him because of the caliber he is, and also a fight of the night because of what Kevin Holland usually puts on as a show?
Yeah, anytime he's fought 2 guys in the top division his last 2 fights that he's lost to. I go out there and I finish them. I do something that 2 guys in the top of the division couldn't do. So I don't know what more you need to see, what more you need for a bonus or whatnot. So.
And you're known for your submissions and your finish victories. How likely do you think there is a finish for you in this fight and taking him out of it?
I think it's a high rate of a finish for me. Based off of my skill set and my game planning that I've been doing, I think this fight plays really into my favor. He, based off of his last 2 fights, pretty much every single fight he's been taken down. But we're trying to take advantage of what he does, trying to get up off of his back to kind of take his back, choke him out, or just sink in a submission any way we can. And I really believe that I'll finish him probably late in the second round. But yeah, that's my prediction.
And he got a lot of criticism about his wrestling and people telling him he's kind of proven that since his last fight. you feel like he has put any kind of work into that since his last fight, or are we going to see the same old Kevin Holland in this fight? Do you believe?
No, I think he's doing his best that he can to kind of defend the wrestling and everything like that. It's kind of stupid if you don't do it. If you're not working to improve, then what are you doing in the sport? You know what I mean? Like he's what was his? I think his last fight. I forget when his last fight was. Maybe almost a year ago. But I don't think you can get that much better at wrestling in that short of time. I'm assuming that he's basing a lot of his drilling and stuff off of defensive wrestling, and I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We're going to see October 2nd. You know, I'm going to go in there and do my best. You know, to take him down and choke him out pretty much. So we'll see if his wrestling is working.
Do you feel like you are the test for him in terms of the UFC have put you here to kind of show him maybe he needs to improve his wrestling because you know you're one of the best ones in the middleweight division?
I see myself as one of the best in the division, but you know, in my honest opinion, I kind of saw this. I kind of figured. Sorry. I just when I got the call and everything like that, you know, I kind of thought they were trying to play this into his hands because you know, just trying to give him another build me up fight, you know, just to get him back, you know. But it's not going to be easy. You know, I'm not going in there to just give up a win or anything like that. I don't do that. You know, I come in there every single fight that I have. I come in there to fight, and he's going to have a fight on his hands October 2nd. And you know, I don't have any hard feelings or anything like that. That's probably not their intentions at all. But with my mindset that I had going into the fight, that's their intentions, and that kind of puts a fire under my ass to work harder every single day.
And what do you make of the people who've kind of disregarded you already in this fight and kind of said that Kevin Holland's won already just because you're not a big name and, you know, you don't have maybe the experience in the UFC just yet?
They got to watch on October 2nd and they'll see. You know, if there's I'm going to be going right at him from the very beginning of the fight. I'm going to press him up against the cage. I'm going to take him down. If he gets back up, he gets back up. I'll take him down again. I'm just going to keep taking him down until he gets tired and I can submit him.
And how important is the victory for you on October 2nd? Because, you know, you've struggled for consistency in the UFC just yet, but you've fought some big names, and this is the biggest of them all. So a ranked opponent as well. How important is a victory for you?
Very important. You know, victory is everything. Anytime you go into the cage, a victory is what you're looking for. You're looking to win every single time. I am 1-2 in the UFC, so it's always scary. You know, if you lose another one, you could get cut. You know, they could call me up right now and cut me. You know, you would never know. You'd be surprised at the things that they have the power to do. But it's always scary, but it's always good because I need that fear behind me. I need that fear because that's just going to make me work harder and kind of push harder. But yeah, it's scary when you think about it, but it's good in a way.
And do you feel like there's a contract on the horizon for you if you do get a victory in this fight, or is I'm not too sure how your contract situation is with the UFC at the moment?
Yeah, actually, I actually just signed a new contract with the UFC. I signed a new 4-fight deal, which was a big surprise as well because you know I recently just lost. I'm 1-2, so I was very surprised. But you know, I'm very thankful to Mick Maynard and the UFC for believing in me and giving me the contract. But then again, I can't look at the contract and be like, all right, I have 4 more fights, so I can lose this one and then, you know, go win the next 3. You know, I have to win every single one that's on the contract. So that's my game. That's my mindset going into every single fight.
And is that a compliment to you, considering that you do have a losing record, but they've given you a 4-fight contract? You know, they're showing up belief in you, and now they've given you Kevin Holland.
Yeah, of course, it's crazy. You know, right? Like, it's just good, kind of like. You feel good because you're treated right, you know. You know the belief that you have in yourself. I know the belief I have in myself. My family knows, you know, my fiance knows the belief, and she believes just as much as I do that I will be champion one day. And it's just, you know, if I have to struggle for these, if I have to be 1-2 starting out in the UFC, and then everything else is up from there, then I'm perfectly fine with that. You know, I'm willing to give up 2 losses to be the champ come, you know, a year or 2 from now.
And looking at your future in the middleweight division, how would you like to next fight past this if you do get the victory on October 2nd?
Yeah, when I win on October 2nd, as long as I don't have any bumps or bruises or anything like that, nothing too bad or too severe, probably early January, maybe early February, I'm fine with that. Yeah, I just want to have enough time to where that I can train and improve. You know, I want enough time to look at the fight, study the fight, see what I did right, see what I did wrong, and improve on everything.
And it's likely that you would be a ranked opponent if you do beat Holland. So
Yeah.
is the goal for you just to continue getting up that rankings and not looking kind of downwards?
No, I mean, whoever they put in front of me, I'll fight. I'm not picky on being a ranked guy and fighting unranked guys. But once you hit the top 10, then that's when like I'll be like, all right, I will only want 9, I only want 8, I only want 7 or anything like that. Because the top, top 15, it doesn't really matter. Once you hit the top 10, then it matters. It matters the most. So yeah, once I hit the top 10, which will probably be within the next 2 or 3 fights, then I'll start looking at guys that are below me that are I can fight.
And you talked earlier about after your Phil Hawes fight, you talked to your manager about opponents that you would like to fight, and Kevin Holland was potentially one of those. Is there anybody else in kind of the middleweight division that you have your eye on as well that you'd love to fight?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, anybody in the top 10 is always great, but I know that the UFC wouldn't give me that. I like the Edmund Shabazi and Imanov fight. I really like that fight. I think I do well against either of those guys. Ian Heinisch is also another good guy. He's a very good wrestler and everything like that. But I think these fights play in my favor. But yeah, I mean, anybody the UFC gives me, anybody that's on the contract that's on the dotted line, I'll sign and I'll fight and I'll beat. So.
And just looking at that middleweight division, what do you make of the top 10 at the moment? It's very competitive. You've got Vettori fighting Costa soon, and Derek Brunson's made a kind of stormed up the rankings recently. And Israel Adesanya's facing Robert Whittaker in their rematch. Who do you think's winning that rematch?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I think the way Rob came out in that first fight was he was a little too active. But I think maybe Izzy has his number. I mean, I'm not really sure. I don't really know a lot of guys that have the good enough wrestling to beat Izzy. You kind of have to mix it up. You have to have really good strike. You have to have good striking and good defensive striking along with good, offensive wrestling and offensive jiu-jitsu, which, in my opinion, I think I have, but, that'll be come down the line. But yeah, I mean, that fight will be good. Brunson's doing very well. He seems like a beast. I know he had just beat Till. He looked very well against Till. Who else? The Vettori fight. That Vettori fight's pretty good. I think Costa will beat Vettori. But then again, you don't know. These guys are huge, so you don't know. I mean, it's a very good fight back and forth, but I think Costa will beat him.
And would you like to see someone kind of with that offensive jiu-jitsu and wrestling that you personally believe that you have face Adesanya down the line as well, if that's not you?
Yeah, I'm open. My buddy who was actually going to be cornering me this fight, it's a funny story. It was kind of a while ago. So he was bragging about this guy on that Fall for Glory, bragging about him, saying he's gonna be the next UFC champ, next UFC middleweight champ. And I'm like, who is this guy? And it was Izzy. He was talking about Izzy. And there's we have a shared conversation that we have. And then he wrote something about Izzy. And I was like, all right, well, here's your boy. I'm gonna beat him in so-and-so. And he's keeping that, and he's keeping it to me for my word. So if we do fight eventually, I'm gonna be like, all right, dude, now you gotta be on my side.
I'm not sure if you've heard about Alex Pereira, who's entered the fray. Yeah. I believe he's the only man to have defeated Adesanya by knockout. What do you make of his entrance into UFC if you have heard about him?
I mean, he fought one of the guys that I used to train with in his last fight, I think, LFA. I think he knocked that kid out. I trained with that kid before. I don't know, man. I think, I don't want to be rude to anybody or anything like that, but I think it's just kind of hype behind him because he beat Izzy in a kickboxing match. I don't know about the guys that he's fought. I haven't really heard of any of the guys that he's fought MMA-wise, besides the one guy that I train with. But I don't know. I think it's all hype, honestly. I just want to see how he does against his fight that he got scheduled coming up, and then maybe I'll welcome him too. That would be a good fight.
Yeah, is that something that you'd like possibly is in your next fight? And also, do you think like he might even skip the queue in terms of the rankings just so they can get that fight with Izzy before he potentially loses in the UFC?
Yeah, no, I mean, they obviously brought him in for a reason. So I mean, if he looks good in his next fight, in this fight coming up, then I'm sure he's going to get a ranked guy in his fight after that. I mean, that seems like that's what the UFC wants to do. They want to kind of get as much hype as they can for each pay-per-view. And I think it's a good backstory. I mean, he's the only guy to knock out Izzy. So I just think it's a good backstory for the UFC. It kind of has a lot of interest for people to tune in and watch.
And now just finally, can we just get a prediction out of you for your fight on October 2nd against Kevin Holland?
Yeah, October 2nd, I'm going to go in there, take Kevin Holland down. You know, if he gets back up, he gets back up. But I'm coming out of I'm coming out of that cage with my hand raised, regardless of anything that he throws at me or any submission that he pulls. You know, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to take him down, take his back, and hopefully choke him out.
Well, thank you very much for your time and all the best on October 2nd.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.